Hello everybody and welcome back to Typical City. Arsenal made a mistake yesterday. I truly believe they made a mistake in playing for a draw. They played for the draw, they got the draw, they came for the point. That was it. The narrative was all about Arsenal are going to turn up to the Etihad. This bigger, stronger, more powerful Arsenal squad is going to rock up to the Etihad and beat us. That's what they promised and they did not deliver. As far as I'm concerned, their threat to the title is minimised as a result of this because I feel like that was a missed opportunity. They were celebrating their Arsenal fans last night. Celebrating the idea of not losing to Manchester City. And it shows where the standards are between the two football clubs. And they came for the draw and they got what they wanted at the end of the day. But the facts are, Liverpool have got smooth sailing now. Their fixtures look much more nicer on the eyes compared to Arsenal's fixtures. And City's are probably the second best. Liverpool's have definitely got the most favourable. Then I'd probably say City. And then Arsenal. They've got a tough run. A really tough run till the end of the season. So are they now expecting to not drop any points and also gain on Liverpool? They should have come to us and beaten us, and I feel like it's cost us both. You know, Arsenal, with their attitude approach to that game, going for the draw, they've almost wiped City and Arsenal into, not out of the title race completely, but to a point where they've made it very difficult, and Liverpool are hands down the title favourites now to win this Premier League title. It's Arsenal's setup, this newfound attacking way that Arsenal are meant to be a bag full of goals. But in fairness to them, their defence was solid, rock solid. There was nothing getting past that red and white wall. Bit of both. Bit from column A, a little bit from column B. Column A being the solidity of Arsenal's defence, and column B being Manchester City's lack of creativity, to be honest. The two went hand in hand yesterday and resulted in a 0-0 draw. So frustrating. The stats back me up as well. Pop them on the screen for you right now. 73% possession to Manchester City compared to their 27%. So we dominated the ball. The ball was all Manchester City yesterday. Very little coming out from a creative point of view and in an attacking sense from Arsenal yesterday. 12 shots from Manchester City to their 6. So half of the amount of shots on goal. One shot on target, though, from Manchester City shows that the clarity of the chances weren't good enough. You know, we weren't breaking their lines at all. And their two shots came from two counter-attacking opportunities in the second half. One which Trossard straight at Ortega, very simple to save. And the XG, once again, City were expected to score. We were expected to get a goal in this game, and we didn't. And it's not the first time this season that I've said that. You know, our XG was higher than theirs, 0.66 for Arsenal. So two big chances for Manchester City, both missed as well. 700 passes as well to their 269. So we bossed that match. You know, and I was expecting more from Arsenal. I really was. I thought they were going to come. I thought they promised it us. They did not deliver what they promised. Their fans in particular promised they're going to come to the Etihad and they're going to beat us. And they beat us convincingly. There was nothing convincing about their performance yesterday. And I think that spells bad omens for the rest of the season for Arsenal. City, we've here before. We know what we can do. We can flip a switch and turn on the style. Eventually, that's what City fans are hoping. It's incredibly difficult because we're chasing down Arsenal and Liverpool now. If this was a two-horse race and Liverpool weren't in it, I wouldn't be bothered about the point yesterday. I would be thinking they're dropping points. Considering the fixture list, I feel like we can overtake Arsenal this season. Liverpool is the problem now for Manchester City and of course therefore Arsenal. But let's make no mistake, I've made it all about Arsenal this introduction, but in truth there are problems with Manchester City as well. Going forward there's a serious lack of creativity, not enough convincing final third actions. You know, that final pass, that cross into the ball was too easy to deal with. But let's get on with the player ratings now. Stefan Ortega stepping in for Ederson, who I've got no problems with. I thought he had a great game, really. For the minimal amount of typical goalkeeping he had to do. Very little, really. 7.5 in total I'm going to give him, but you can see from the number of saves he had to make, 2. You know, but I was focused on his distribution. What's he going to be like in his distribution? That was the concern for me, because Ederson delivers every game. You know, Ortega's a little bit hit and miss, but he delivered. 84% passing accuracy, 6 out of 11 long balls were complete, 1 high climb. Solid performance from Stefan Ortega, and he's got a clean sheet to his name, which is a little bit of an extra score bump there. So 7.5 for Stefan Ortega. Ruben Diaz, I thought he was solid as a block shot. You can see there, a tackle. Not actually that much to do. He was very vocal yesterday. I thought like there was a real commanding presence from him, bordering on a little bit overly zealous at times, a little bit overly rattled, I thought. There were times where he was kicking off on everybody, smacking the ball out of hands because the Arsenal players taking their time with free kicks and a bit of time wasting here and there. David Raya was wasting time and Ruben Diaz was throwing his arms up in the air. I can understand his frustrations He didn't let it over boil, though. I don't think he had a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but there wasn't too much for him to do defensively, as the numbers suggest, with 1 tackle, a block shot, 2 ground duels for Ruben Dias, and he won one of them, 2 aerial duels as well, going up against Kai Havertz as well, who's renowned for being good in the air. There was another City player that dominated the aerial duels, and I'll get onto him shortly. Interceptions, 1, 7 out of 10 for Ruben Dias, decent. Akanji, there you go, you can see the aerial duels, 6 aerial duels, and he won 4 of them, so there's your domination in the air, keeping the likes of Kai Havertz quiet reasonably well. And they went long a few times as well, Arsenal, in that first half in particular. They were trying to go over the top of us, and Akanji dealt with it really well. 3 ground duels, though, none won. That was an interesting stat from Akanji, where normally he gets higher numbers than that. No tackles either. Again, little to speak of defensively, other than the aerial duels. No tackles for Akanji. Against Arsenal, this wonderful goal machine that is Arsenal, they offered nothing going the other way. 3 ground duels and none. Well, 1 isn't good enough. A key pass, though, Akanji pushing into midfield. There was a couple of moments where he showed composure, not quite to the level of John Stones, but he was all right. Not great, not bad. 1 clearance as well, 6.5 for Manuel Akanji. Josko Gvardiol, man of the match performance. First time in the season I've given Josko man of the match, and it's fantastic defensive numbers. Out of all the players that did need to do some defending, it was him coming down that right-hand side. Arsenal often sent the counter-attack down that side in the first half in particular. And he dealt with it. Josko Gvardiol is someone that I've been concerned defensively, and I'm old school when it comes to defenders. I want my defenders to defend first, and if they've got the ability to push forward, get into midfield like Akanji, like John Stones, and potentially Josko Gvardiol, or going down the wing as Gvardiol or Kyle Walker on the other side, that's a bonus to me. If they can do that, yes, obviously it's attributes that are helpful to the squad. But defending is their priority. That's why they're called defenders, And Josko absolutely nailed the defensive side of the game yesterday. As you can see, 10 ground duels, he won 8 of them. Fantastic from Josko Gvardiol. 4 tackles, 2 interceptions. He's even offering a creative sense in getting himself a key pass as well, and 1 clearance. Ball retention was fantastic as well with 87%. 8 out of 10 is the least he deserved, really. And that's a man of the match performance for me for Josko Gvardiol. Can he keep it going? And I said it all season that he's not been hitting the heights. I've been critical of him all season. But one thing I have said with every time I've criticised him, I've said next season we'll see the best of him. And we're starting it now. This road to the best of Josko starts now. And I feel like we've got to keep this going, keep this momentum going for the rest of the season. And we've got a very strong left-sided defender on our hands all of a sudden. Next player. Nathan Ake came off in the 27th minute, very little to speak of and nothing to do, to be honest. In the 27 minutes on the pitch, and he didn't have to make a tackle, he didn't block a shot, didn't intercept anything, didn't have a clearance, no ground duels. So that's 27 minutes of Arsenal doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that was the first 27 minutes of the match, of course, where I think Manchester City missed their opportunity to exert their dominance on the game. Because I felt like we were the better side in that first 20 minutes, and we showed creativity a little bit. He actually got up for a corner, and it sort of like bounced off him, and David Raya just went straight into the hands of David Raya from a corner. That could have been 1-0 Manchester City very easily, and it could have flipped on its head, this game. But little to speak of. You're hoping the injury isn't too serious. 6 out of 10 for Nathan Ake, and fingers crossed for the injury. You're hoping it's not, long term. Please, God, we need Nathan Ake. But silver lining, Gvardiol is stepping up to the plate right now, so it may not be as bad as first feared if Gvardiol can keep playing as well as that. Rico Lewis came on, was solid. Really difficult environment to come on as an 18-year-old. Unexpected introduction to the match. Came on for Nathan Ake, of course, which obviously therefore shifted the Manchester City defence across. Akanji had to push inside. Diaz had to push a bit further inside. Gvardiol stayed where he was, of course. But Rico was in and out of right back and in defensive midfield as well. Mostly in midfield because we dominated the football. So we did see very little defensive actions from Rico Lewis. But he was solid. He kept things ticking. He was a bit of a springboard. Every time Rodri looked in trouble, Rico was there, someone to give it to. Just to bounce a pass off for Rodri. And he was good, he's an 18-year-old kid who came on into arguably the biggest game of the season, and he did not look out of his depth at all. Really good from Rico. I was impressed to a 7 out of 10 standard of impressed. So he was all right. 45 touches, 95% passing accuracy is really good. No tackles, 1 dribble attempted, and he completed it. A clearance, 4 ground duels, he won 3 of them, and he only lost the ball twice. You know, that's really good. Really good from a player that was majority playing in midfield. It was really good from Rico Lewis. Rodri, I mean, this guy's going to win us a trophy. This guy's going to win us a trophy single-handedly. His determination, his attitude on that pitch. There's never a time where Rodri's like, I can't think I've ever given Rodri less than a 6.5, maybe 7 out of 10. He's always so good, isn't he? And I mean, he gets at 8 out of 10, same as Josko Gvardiol, but the numbers are brilliant. Again, look at the dribbles, mate. You don't expect that from Rodri, do you? 8 dribble attempts. He completed 7 of them. He was bossing that midfield. Ground duels 18, he won more than half of them, with 11 being won. He lost the ball 15 times, which is to be expected considering he's had 146 touches. So he bossed that midfield. 92% passing accuracy, 3 key passes as well as a tackle. 8 out of 10 for Rodri. And I've only given Gvardiol man of the match because he deserved it, in my opinion, and for the fact I've never given him one yet. So I feel like I've given Rodri, like every other week I'm giving Rodri bloody man of the match. So I felt like sharing the wealth a little bit and giving Josko man of the match. Brilliant from Rodri. Keep it going, mate, and you'll win us a trophy this year, surely. Surely. If he stays fit, get him in the starting 11 for the FA Cup campaign and the rest of the Champions League, and he'll do something for us. He really will. Kovacic, not his greatest performance. I thought he got off to a really good start, in fact. That first 20 minutes, I felt like he was a part of that. Our domination in midfield and our ability. He broke the lines a couple of times really well with some lovely passes in that first 15 minutes. But then he made a mistake on about the 20th minute, 25th minute, around then, where he just flicked it away, trying to get it to Ruben Diaz. A little bit of miscommunication between Ruben Diaz and Mateo Kovacic, and he just sent Arsenal down the right wing on a potential counter-attack. It didn't come to anything, of course. But it was from that moment I thought he dipped a little bit and he shrunk a little bit. He didn't really come and show himself and grab the ball. Give me the ball, give me the ball. He didn't show any like domination after that. And he kept it overly simple from that point, I thought, Kovacic, which was disappointing. I would have liked to have seen him take that ball and take the game by the scruff of the neck and try and fire some difficult passes around that pitch, the likes of which Rodri was doing all game. Kovacic started like that. He started with that attitude, but he wilted a little bit. After about the halfway mark of the first half, he just disappeared a little bit. And I think that made sense why Pep brought him off eventually. But 94 touches, 91% passing accuracy isn't bad at all. No key passes, 1 block shot, 3 ground duels. He won 1 of them, 1 dribble attempted. He completed it. He lost the ball 11 times. 6.5 for Kovacic. Phil Foden, another quiet, frustrating. That's where one of the players that I thought really disappointed in the creativity aspect of what we needed yesterday. We needed to see something a little bit more razzle-dazzle, a little bit something special from our creative players, your Kevin De Bruyne's, your Phil Fodens, Bernardo Silva's. We needed to see something from Phil Foden that wasn't really there yesterday. I felt like he was just a little, not a passenger. It's a bit of an insult. That's overly critical to call him a passenger. But it was just going on around him a little bit, and it felt like he couldn't really get hold of the ball enough to impact the game. 49 touches from Foden that's about right, to be honest, normal. From 61 minutes as well, Phil came off with Kovacic, of course, for Jack Grealish and Jeremy Doku. But 85% passing accuracy, 1 shot, it was blocked. 4 ground duels, he won 2 of them. A key pass, a tackle, he lost the ball 9 times. So not terrible from Phil Foden. Just needed something more, something like he's been doing all season, to be honest. It was just a quiet game for Phil, unfortunately. 6.5 for me. Kevin De Bruyne, he's a mad one, isn't he? He's an absolute mad one. He's one of these guys that, he tries and he tries. He goes for the most difficult pass. And as you can see, his passing accuracy is always going to be the lowest in the team because he tries the hardest passes that are available. Out of all the range of passes, he could play a 5-yard pass to his right or to his left. He could play a simple 10-yard pass to the fullback. Nah, mate, he goes for the defence-splitting, channel-obliterating pass that kills defences and presents usually Erling Haaland with a golden opportunity. Didn't work out that way yesterday, but he kept trying. 4 key passes is another indication of that as well. 1 big chance created, another indication of that. It just wasn't quite coming off for him. A lot of corners. His corner delivery was poor yesterday, I thought. No shots from Kevin, but 10 ground duels. He won 5 of them, and he only lost the ball 10 times. I felt like the numbers wouldn't be that good, but typical of Kevin De Bruyne, the numbers were decent. They were decent yesterday. 7 out of 10 for Kevin De Bruyne. Need to see just a bit more that refined quality from him in future games, but by no stretch of the imagination was that a bad game from him. So 7 out of 10 for Kevin De Bruyne. Jack Grealish came on, he was all right. He got more of the ball than I actually thought he did. In my head, I felt like Jeremy Doku had more of the ball, but in terms of the number of touches, he actually had the ball more than Jeremy Doku did. It didn't feel like that, but that's typical Jack Grealish with those little touches that he likes to take, keeping the ball, just not really going anywhere with it, but keeping the ball at least. 25 touches, 75% passing accuracy. They're almost the same numbers as Doku, to be honest, which you'll see in a minute. Key pass, 2 dribbles, of which he completed both, so not bad at all. A clearance, Jack, typical, getting back and do a little bit of defensive work. He doesn't mind doing that. Came on and was solid, really solid. 5 ground duels and he won 4 of them. That's really good. 7 times he lost the ball. 6.5 for Jack Grealish because he was only on the pitch for 29 minutes. Doku came on the same time as Jack, similar numbers, to be honest. The same 75% passing accuracy. As you can see, he touched the ball 5 times less than Grealish did. 4 dribble attempts, he won 3 of them. A tackle, he won that. 6 ground duels, won 4 of them. 7 times he lost the ball, not bad at all. 6.5 for Doku. Again, it's just end product. There was 1 cross that came in from Doku. That was missed, and it was just like, okay, he's only had the 1 opportunity to cross the ball, but it was a poor one. I want to see a better ability. They all did, to be fair. There was almost every single City player was putting crosses into the box that just weren't good enough. It was easy to defend. A lot of them they were coming in quite deep at times. Saliba and Gabriel just clearing everything that came their way with ease at times. So it's difficult for Haaland to score a goal or get involved in an attacking sense when the service isn't quite as good. But still, I need to see more from Haaland, and I'll get onto that in a second. Bernardo Silva, I thought he was decent. First half in particular was really good. A really strong defensive performance from Bernardo Silva, and attitude-wise, always spot on. The reason why I didn't put him in my predicted starting 11 for Manchester City against Arsenal. And I thought, if I had a feeling I'd be wrong, because Pep pretty much always puts Bernardo Silva in the big games. So I wasn't disappointed to see him, and he hasn't disappointed in his delivery, certainly in the defensive numbers, as you can see, with 1 interception, 18 ground duels, he won 9 of them. 5 dribble attempts, he only won 2, completed 2 of them, but 3 tackles from Bernardo Silva. He's solid, isn't he? He was putting himself about, he put in a good shift, in fairness to him. 16 times he lost the ball, a little bit loose with it there. 88% passing accuracy, though, isn't bad at all. 7 out of 10 for Bernardo Silva. Erling Haaland, 6 out of 10. It's one of those... It's such a difficult thing. I went into immense amount of detail after the game yesterday, so if you really want to hear my in-depth thoughts of Erling Haaland, go and check out my match reaction yesterday, where I go into a lot more detail about Erling Haaland. And to simplify it, it's very easy to pick one side from him, but there is a lot of middle ground for Erling Haaland to describe what's going on with Manchester City, because it's like he needs to offer a little bit more. He needs to come and drop deep a little bit. His hold-up play could be better. It's not bad. At times, it's quite good. There are times where it's like needs to be better, need to see more of it. When it happens, it's like, okay, it's like sometimes it usually comes off, more often than not, but still, we don't see enough of it. Come drop deep, get to the halfway line, bring other players into the game. You don't always have to be the end of the move. And then you talk about the end of the move. Well, how can he be the end of the move if the service getting into the box just isn't good enough? If we're not breaking the lines with penetrating passes that can split a defence open to create opportunities for Erling Haaland, how can we criticise the man for not scoring a goal when he's not getting the major opportunities? There was one big moment, though, in that second half when a corner comes in, Gvardiol nods it across the face of goal into the back post. Haaland, you're thinking, if you just cut that back to Akanji, it's a tap in, 1-0 Manchester City, we win the game. We win the game at that point, but that moment from Haaland, he's too busy thinking about the pass ahead of it before getting his mind and his body in the right place. He just completely misses it, to a point where it's like he's got to get his foot behind that and get that ball to Manuel Akanji. That was a real disappointing moment from Erling Haaland, but 64% passing accuracy is too low. 8 ground duels, though. He won 5 of them, so not bad at all in that regard, considering it's Saliba and Gabriel you're going up against. 4 shots on target, none of them hit the target. 6 ground duels, he won half of them. 7 times he lost the ball. 6 out of 10 for Erling Haaland. Is it time for Alvarez? That's the big debate now. Is it time to rotate? Let's try something a little bit different. Give Alvarez a real run in this team. 3 games up front for Manchester City, playing as a number 9. None of this number 10, none of this left wing, number 8, none of that. An out-and-out centre forward, playing the Erling Haaland role with a little bit more of a dynamic approach where he can drop deep and collect the ball a little bit. Something along those lines would be nice. from Pep Guardiola I know there's Erling Haaland fans who are like, no, you can't drop Haaland. I understand that like at any moment he can score, but right now we're talking about 5 games without a goal. 5 games without a goal is a barren run. By a lot of strikers' standards, by Erling Haaland's standards, that's an unbelievable barren run. So he's dipped in form. He's not undroppable. No one is undroppable in this Manchester City side. And maybe it's just a case of 3 games on the bench. Maybe bring him on. Start Alvarez, get the game won with Alvarez, then bring him on. Haaland bangs 2 goals in, confidence rises, and then all of a sudden Pep's got a lovely, lovely headache. He's got goal-scoring Erling Haaland and goal-scoring Julian Alvarez. Pick your poison, opposition. Who do you want to face, Alvarez or Haaland? We could take him out of the line of fire and just slowly integrate him back into the starting 11 with substitute appearances where he might get himself a goal or 2 in those situations and raise his confidence. But that's my opinion anyway. What's yours? Get in the comments below. What do you think of the player ratings? Are there any you agree with, any you disagree with? Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections below. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding up Silva.